Greetings and salutations from Streaming Rainbow. Thanks for joining us for part 3 of Halley's Children, Ticonderoga. Let me introduce you once again to my players. David as Half-Thor, Cameron as Anoush, Courtney as Yelena, and Lara as Ida. I am Serafina Smith, the game master for this game, and I'm very happy you're joining us here for our adventure through history. History, as you know, is fraught with troubles. One such trouble awaited our heroes at Ticonderoga, where thanks to the fate manipulation powers of the Morrigan, the fort was unexpectedly reinforced with 10,000 men, more than enough to defend the fort against the British forces arrayed against them. But our heroes rallied, gathering together for a conclave. The conclave was visited by Cuchulainn in the guise of a French lieutenant. He brought the Morrigan with him in his mind, and together they made their case. The gathered conclave was not largely impressed with their case, and preparations are being made for something that it would not be completely out of line to call war. But not everyone was of the same mind. Anoush sought out Philomore and persuaded him to come with him down the tunnel to the fort and speak the name of the Morrigan thrice, at which point the door opened overhead. We rejoin the narrative there. A voice, the voice you heard before when the Morrigan was speaking through Lieutenant Moulin, calls out from above. Will you come to me, Philomore of Hastings? Philomore looks for a moment as though he's about to change his mind, but then he nods. I'm Morrigan. I'm coming. And he climbs up the ladder. A few seconds pass after the sound of Philomore's climbing is done, and then, will you come to me, Anoush of Hastings?
Anoush climbs the ladder.
You follow Philomore up into the dark. In your ear, the voice of a ghost whispers, I hope you know what you're doing, my student. All right. Meanwhile, we rejoin Robert, now back in command of his army. He did not come here to fight, and he doesn't like the odds now that he may have to. But he is a man familiar with war and with siege, and he has some tricks up his sleeve. He speaks to the head of the contingent of Royal Artillery and directs them to emplace their equipment on the surrounding hills to give them an angle at which they could hit some of the buildings within the fort directly. He speaks to the commander of the 1st Battalion of 60th Foot, directing them to defend the artillery, and he begins making battle plans. He will sleep tonight. He knows that he will be sharper rested, but it will not be for some time. Before long, Otto joins him. Otto is not a military man and can provide little assistance, but he is a welcome presence as the night goes on, a friend to bounce ideas off of. Let's go to Ida. Ida, what are you up to at this time? It's getting late.
Ida is probably pretty inebriated at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So they've gotten done imitating everybody in the room to the humor of anybody who stuck around. Hopefully only getting hit a little bit by anybody who might be a little bit offended. But they don't care. I think that they, after things start winding down, I think that they actually will let their siblings know. They'll let Half-Thor and Yelena know. They're just going to go topside to get some quiet and some air. Not far from, they're not going to go too far from wherever, but they need to have a moment to just kind of take it in. So I think, they're going to go. Yeah, they're not going to sneak away. Actually, they are going to look around for Anoush always. So can I roll a notice to see if, or can I roll a notice to see if I had spotted him leaving?
I'm going to say since you were in your cups and
Yeah.
you did not notice them leaving.
Okay. So and then I don't see him now at
Yeah.
all. So that's concerning but unsurprising at this point. So yeah, with that in mind, they say, I'm not going far. I just need some fresh air away from quite a bit of humanity. So I will be right back. And yeah, they go up about halfway. So they don't actually leave the tunnel as a human. They turn into into the wolf, and they're going to take a little run through the changed woods as a wolf, kind of trying to take it in and see what they can see.
All right. All right. So that's what Ede is up to.
Mhm.
Half Thor, what are you up to? Other than having your mic muted.
Both spots every time. Check both spots. Um, I think after he saw, so I think the last thing we had narrated that Yelena and Hathor were repositioning defensive positions, and Yelena had done some very impressive magic with the forest.
Mm-hmm.
I think after that he would have told Yelena something similar to Robert's thought, which is we should sleep soon because in his experience, typically when some sort of siege or something lasts, right, any type of this kind of battle, it's days. So he said we would need to get some rest, and then he probably would have tried to fight Robert before he went to sleep, though, to try to chat with him if that's possible.
Robert is easy to find. He is in his tent with Otto.
Okay. Robert, could I have a word?
Of course.
Okay.
And he nods to Otto, and Otto steps out.
Sorry, I was laughing at the thing I was thinking because I was about to say, I think we should. I think we should have, in addition to your forces, obviously attacking from whatever sides you're better at this siege warfare. On more small skirmishes.
Mm.
I was thinking of putting together a team though that could come underneath a small. And I wanted to discuss with you potential risks of it, but I think the upside is better. I think our best fighters sneaking into the fort on the inside.
I see. Through the
A
tunnel
la,
or some other way?
there's two tunnels that I'm aware of. We could also find another way. Gilgamesh could throw us over the walls or break through. There are many methods. The point would be someone like me, Gilgamesh, Fillmore, or are my initial thoughts. Hippolyta, or Hippolyta, sorry, are my initial thoughts. Those, but the risk is having the most deadly potentially come under the spell. And I think we would say when we get ready for discussion time of what's the best way forward, battle plan wise, I think it's a worthy avenue to look at. I just want to know your beat on it.
If you had said Hild, I would have railed against it because I fear what would happen if she became under the Morrigan's influence. But
No.
for what you're saying, I think I approve. I think that a sort of small-scale warfare is probably better here because the siege will
Yes.
fail on its own.
I
Be
do
honest.
think Hild and others do have a good use, though. And then he wants to go into a big explanation of how he thinks Otto, with the sea and the weather, could potentially try to crash some boats into the harbor portion and cause some havoc that way. He would like Hild on the skirmishes on the very outside of wherever she sends her troops to try to mass change some minds, go home, reconsider your lives, stuff like that, shouting from far away. And just essentially use all the powers that we have that can affect multiple people, used in ways spread out, so that again, when you spread something out, right, you create weaker points of stress.
Correct.
And so the idea being, let's spread her out, and then hopefully that inside force can, the war metaphors do work. Sarah, I saw that. That didn't miss me. Spread her out, and then those that are inside can cause a lot of havoc. Robert, don't look at me like that, you disgusting man.
I see.
That would just be his recommendation for how to utilize everybody come the next few days, like when it pops off.
How can I support you?
I think we start with conventional warfare. I think the cannons. I think we create an out so that easily civilians and those, if we can break the spell, so we leave the lower town gate essentially unmolested. Do not attack from there, and we attack from literally every other side, including the sea.
I see. Excellent. Yes, that is a strategy that I approve of. I have the cannons set up. They will strike buildings inside the forts, and that will cause havoc and death, and that will help to drive them out.
Good. Let's get to it.
Very good.
I'll see you in the morrow. He reaches a hand over us.
He takes a moment and then nods and takes your hand.
He just walks out and thinks about how he hopes this isn't it. But like every warrior, he hopes if it is, it's a good death. As he goes to find Yelena in there, or wait for her wherever she's going.
Speaking of,
when they came back to the rotunda, Yelena had collected some things from Pagan's residence by the trading post, things that she thought he might want to have or things he might find useful. She hands them to him in a bundle and just sits with him for a moment. How are you doing, friend?
You know me. I bounce back from everything. Tough, you know?
I know you well enough that you put on a show when it comes to things that are not so easily overcome physically.
Well, I mean, that's... You know, growing up, I always wanted to be... I was the little brother, and my brothers always beat up on me, and so I always wanted to be big and strong and able to not be picked on, and I am, and now I've found out that there's an entire other way that you can be hurt, and I'm not tough enough for that. I don't. Doesn't matter. I'll live forever. I'll get over it, right?
I think that mentality is what is breaking Anush. I think, feel it. feel it as loud as you wish. Don't let yourself become numb to it just because it is easier. And as I say it out loud, I understand that this makes me perhaps a bit of a hypocrite. There are no good words to say in this moment. Everything is really bad right now. But in the face of maybe certain end for some of us, perhaps it is time to say everything it is that you want to say, regardless of if you think the words are right or not. At least have them be heard.
You know what, Yelena? I don't think this is the end. I think that we're going to keep going. And I think that we've had centuries to build up our bravery.
I hope you are right. And I did not grow up with any siblings, but I know we say it and it feels maybe perhaps a bit of a... I can't even think of the word. I consider you a brother. As much as Hafthor might hate it. And I think maybe that's making it better.
Oh.
You are a kind man. You deserve good things.
Shit, no one's ever called me that before.
Yeah, not everybody has the willingness to look beyond the outside of things. I've known you for too long to not see it.
Yelena, you make me want to be the person that you see me as being.
She just gives him a hug.
He hugs back really hard.
Careful. You are very strong still.
Sorry.
I hope everything in there is at least something you find useful.
Of course.
I'm going to set up a few things on the war table.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I'm going to retire for the evening.
Yeah, I'm going to go to bed myself. A little too drunk already.
Hopefully the ale was good.
No, it was terrible, but it's ale.
Fair. Good night, Pagan.
Good night, Yelena.
And then Yelena will go to bed, I guess.
Wonderful. Bedtime comes for you, and you drift into a deep sleep. Anush will get back to you in a moment, but I really want to do this dream sequence. Yelena, let's see. There we go. Yelena, you walk through a dark forest. Dark forests are frankly kind of your thing, so normally this would be a pleasant experience. But something in the way the shadows draw around you, the eerie silence that fills up the space around you, just doesn't feel welcoming. Even your own footfalls make no noise here. At the end of the path you're on, you now see emerging from the mists a dark figure. You feel a chill in the pit of your stomach as you recognize it, for it seems your torment is to be continued. As if in response to the thought, the forest fades away around you, and now you are on the outskirts of a village. You can see the village square in the distance, and in it, 3 stakes, upon which women are tied. The villagers are lighting the fires under the women, and your feet feel as though they're weighted to the ground. The figure speaks. So this is how you see me. No surprise. But it won't do. And the darkness around it disperses and leaves behind 3 ravens of various sizes sitting on a fence. The ravens speak with one voice. This will do. No, Yelena, I'm afraid I'm not responsible for your shadow self, but I do understand it. I've dealt with such specters in the past. They are pernicious and implacable. They are fueled by your grief, and your grief is fueled by your love, so they are strong.
I've come to the decision that maybe I need to be less concerned about what a monster that version of myself would be seen as. But you are right. My grief is big because I love deeply. And I think maybe this is something you understand as well.
Very astute. The ravens seem to think for a moment, cocking their little heads. And then they seem to come to a decision. They take to the air, and they circle around you. The flapping of their wings is loud and overwhelming. Yelena, I want to show you something, but it will be painful. It will be painful in heart and body, and you will experience death. I can promise you nothing more than an understanding, change, and power on the other side of it. May I show you?
Yes?
The ravens close in on you, and you're buffeted by their wings. Nothing but wings and noise. The experience is beyond what your senses can bear, and everything fades into chaos. When it resolves, you are no longer yourself. You are the woman, no, the women on the stakes. It is the strangest experience, the strangest perspective to be 1 and 3, a single consciousness with a tripartite perspective. So much to take in, so much to learn, and so tragic because the fire is rising and the smoke is filling your lungs, and you can feel the heat, see the flames. All 3 of your bodies cough violently. There is no oxygen, the pain, the heat. You can see nothing through watery eyes and heat-warped air. You can hear nothing but the roar of the fires and the sound of your own coughs. Blessedly, all of you pass out before the worst of the burning starts. But not all of you. The part of you that links the 3 minds, the part that is always awake even when the rest of you is asleep, that part feels the burning, the pain and the numbness and the shock. That part feels it when the women die. And I think in the real world, Yelena's heart stops, and she begins to die as well. There's no signal, no sign that the sleeping woman is dying. Her quiet breathing simply slows until it stops. Her blood flow stops, and with it the oxygen to the brain. Half-Thor, you are sleeping next to your wife. You can do an empathy roll to see if you can tell what is happening in your sleep.
You're mute.
You're muted.
I'm not muted. I'm quiet. Half-Thor wasn't yet so Yelena when she was sleeping. I'm sorry.
Oh, no?
No.
Okay, then.
God damn it.
All right, then.
Oh. I had to be
Cool.
honest. I'm sorry.
Cool.
Perfectly all right. Back in the dream, the women have died, but as their lifeless bodies burn, the being that they united to become, the Morrigan, you right now, yet lives. And in a flash of intuition, that being realizes that you don't have to die, that if you can exist beyond death, that you can exist elsewhere. And so for the first time, you make the leap into someone else's mind. It's frightening, but you just experienced death and still live to defy it. You find yourself in the minds of a half dozen of the villagers that remained around the burning pyres. New minds, new perspectives, new you. And then you are Yelena again. And in the real world, your heart begins to beat, and your lungs gather air once again. You stand once more before the fence, facing the ravens, and the ravens speak. My second life began that day, the day I died, the day I lived. But my new life is not eternal. In my prime, I could spread among hundreds, spread through a nation. Today, I can barely hold the senior officers of this army clustered in a single fort. Given my rate of decay, I suspect that by the end of this century, the Morrigan will be no more. But before I die, I will have done this for my people. I will have protected us against them.
You can see what it is that I've experienced?
I see.
So then you know what it is that I ended up doing, but do you know why it took me so long to get there?
Tell me.
Those people were driven by starvation and fear and their own desperate need to feel in some way important and validated. And they were so worried that their own failings would damn them. But in doubt, there is hope. Hope for a changed mind. And when someone doubts, they can learn. I ended them out of grief. But I left their next generation to live, to learn something different than they had been taught. Those people died that day, but their children lived on. And I understand that what we are is to them something worth being afraid of. But what have we done to make sure that they are not afraid? We have rightfully hidden ourselves away because we are powerful in so many terrifying ways. And they've made their mistakes. But who amongst us hasn't? What it is that you are speaking of, you're not showing them a different way. You are waiting for them to fail and to punish them for it. And I don't think they deserve it. The numbers that you want to bring, that is what is terrifying. You cannot say that you know the hearts of these soldiers. I do not mean this, that it is all, but these hearts of men, prone to war, of nations that are so ambitious and want to take anything that is not theirs. If it were 5 or 10 groups of people that we could ensure were trustworthy of eternity, we would not be so opposed to what it is that you want to do. And I understand the fear of feeling weak and incapable. For at least 300 years we have had Eternatus, and the door has always been open to you, but you have never stepped out of where it is that you are. You've never come to us. Why? You want to ensure your community, but you have separated yourself from it.
I have... You shame me. Yes. I have been lacking in community. It is something I am not good at, but I love you all.
Then let us love you.
I believe that you all think that I am doing this out of fear. I am not. I have touched the strands of fate. We are in danger. I can feel it. There is real danger here.
Do you mean here in Ticonderoga?
I mean here in the world.
In the world.
This world that hates us.
In this world that does not know us.
When they do know us, they hate. You are young, you will learn.
I am young, yes. But do not think that makes me naive. I lived as a pagan woman in a Christian village my life before the star. I knew that every person there, no matter how much I had helped them, would just as easily turn on me. But I was proud to help them. I loved my people. Regardless of how absolutely I knew that my life would be so easily sold by any of them, but I understood it is not their doing. It is the things that they were told and taught to fear. And the people who knew me, who knew my family, they know what love could be and how to exist with us and encourage their families to accept 10,000 men, of which none of them know what is coming for them. I was not there in Hastings, but a man turned to fire. Mirwine turned to water. You think your soldiers will see this when the star falls and not turn on one another? You are perpetuating your family's death without even knowing who they are. There has to be another way. There has to be a way around this. You feel you are growing weaker. You admit that you are not good at community, but perhaps you should give us a chance to show you who we are. You want people to join you, but how about you join us for a change?
Excuse me for a moment. Okay. I will think on what you have said.
I know that my abilities don't work in this way.
Okay.
But we are in...
You're in your dream.
Yelena's understanding of how these things work, it's usually Hafthor's will, which for the Morrigan, I would assume is very strong. Yelena is empathy. Would there be a way for Yelena to give some of her empathy, or temporarily or for now embody or give over some of the empathy to the Morrigan?
You could give that to her in a witch's bargain here in this place. However, you would
Do not say bargain.
What you gave.
Do not say bargain. Why would you say bargain?
Because that's exactly what it would be.
You fucking nightmare. Sarah, stop being mean to my friends.
The best. Sarah is such a fair game master.
So sorry. Somebody had a little panic attack and I didn't hear what you said.
Bargain.
I said that you could do this, but you would lose that empathy when you gave it.
I would lose the empathy.
Yes. However many levels you gave, you would lose.
Oh, God.
Would the Morrigan use that empathy for good? Leader of Bloodlust, creator of Bloodlust.
God, that's all of Yelena.
I mean, big swing.
I'll do. I can't justify a lot, but I think I can take her from great to good.
Okay.
One level of empathy.
One level of empathy. All right. Describe how you do that in this dream, in this sacred place in your dream.
Yelena takes control of what it is that she sees. And then these ravens are turned into her mother and her grandmother. And the version of herself that died in Belgrade. And she embraces them all.
All right. So you, okay, go ahead and lower your empathy by 1, and you wake up. You wake, and you have a new power. Like the Morrigan, you can now place a piece of your consciousness into someone else, a person or animal in the same zone, and that consciousness can roll rapport, which is the Morrigan's thing, to get that person to do something. Unlike the Morrigan, you cannot divide yourself any further than that. More importantly, however, you have gone through the process of death and rebirth. You are anew. So who Yelena will be now and what she will leave behind is entirely on the table.
Okay.
But you wake and apparently you're alone.
Sarah froze on the best spot possible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was this.
She's just going to turn into the bed, face the wall, and
You would hear the loud rhythmic ting from the blacksmith. That is usually just meant to make ammunition and repair small armaments. If you want to see if you hear that.
I rolled a great notice.
Sounds like you
That
do.
would allow it.
Yeah.
She'll wrap herself in a fur and is unsure how she's feeling at the moment, but is looking for something familiar. And she will find her way with the sound to Hathor.
Yeah, you see Hathor with his hands. He is carving a small figure. And on the table there is already two. One that is one that looks freshly painted and one that looks painted a little while ago. And one of them has very fancy robes, a large bag on their back, with a little bit darker of skin. The other looks like a very young English peasant. No, I take that back. It would not look like that. The next one looks like, was it Mihogan? What is it? The new. Sorry, you're muted.
Who, me?
Yeah,
Mohegan.
Mohegan. I knew I was getting that first syllable wrong. Mohegan. The other one looks like Mohegan. And the one that he is currently carving has beautiful long brown hair tied up. And then what you hear is the sound of his mind working, blacksmithing small, about 5-inch long. You see a large pile of 5-inch long spikes. And they're in, like, as if in the air. They are just being compressed, placed in the fire, heated, compressed. And he is making weapons of war and effigies of his family. I think he probably would have heard you shuffle in. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't ever really sleep before these things.
I understand. Maybe you should put your mind to different work, though. You were not in our bed. Tomorrow may be our last day. I would have you.
Can I roll an empathy?
You need help getting that innuendo? That
No,
was
that innuendo was loud and clear.
you got work to do.
I am looking for what is being obfuscated by that innuendo. I, of course, don't have empathy.
Kind GM, could you give me
that
a
is my
download?
heart.
Could I what?
Could you just put in the chat somewhere what it is that I've got going on now?
Yeah. Nothing. Our average. I got a +1, so.
Sure, I'll roll deceive.
There is probably a pile of like 20 spikes. I think he says, let me just finish this one. And there it is. And he puts 2 little dots of white on the eyes, places it on the counter, and walks toward you. And you have your husband for the morning.
Beautiful. Fade to black, baby.
I have to finish carving a little tiny wooden version of my wife instead of touching the real one, but okay. Hold on.
Hey, these things are important. And I'm sure it's not at all going to come up that he didn't get to make one for himself. It's not ominous.
We're going to talk about that in therapy in about 1,000 years.
All right. Anush, you and Fillmore are guided by Sebastien Moulin into an office in the barracks. Before he closes the door, Moulin shouts to a soldier nearby, "Get some troops to fill that tunnel in with rubble." Then he closes the door and gestures at the wooden chairs set up across from the desk, which he takes a seat at. He then allows his features to settle back to his own, the face of Cucullin that you recognize. And he says, "Fillmore, Anush, I'm glad you're here. I don't know if you're here because you agree with us or simply to be part of the Starfall, but you will come to no harm here unless you interfere. I hope that's amenable to all."
Well, I do not have any qualms with it.
Good. Tell me why you've come. And Fillmore speaks up. He says, "You know, I don't think that we're safe the way we are. I'm with you."
I have more questions.
Mm-hmm. Ask them.
Well, I would
We're
like
here.
to
We have nothing else
meet.
to do.
I would like to meet the Morrigan, if possible.
The features on his face changed once again into, they filter, they go through several iterations, a face that's sort of round and pale and young, and then a face that's more matured, and then the more angular sort of sharp face that you saw before. And the Morrigan speaks and says, "What do you wish of me, Anush? I am here."
You do not stay in this body the whole time.
I have been made a guest here in this body and in many others.
How does that work for you? You seem a little spread thin.
I assure you, I'm perfectly capable of doing what I'm doing.
Oh, you sound very confident.
Good.
I do not know how much you know about us. But if you are feeling spread thin, I might just have a little bit of something for that.
What do you mean?
How much do you know about what I can do?
I've heard stories about you. You are deathless. You heal. You can do many things. You are a genius.
Not so much genius. I just have a lot of time on my hands. And I can feel every moment of it. It is almost like I do not wither. I only get stronger.
I pity you then.
As you should. But it is also the reason why you do the thing you do. This is not fear. This is a legacy.
Agreed.
How would you feel about me letting you in? Letting you feel what this feels?
What are you after, Anush?
I want to know. I want to know why you were the one who was able to stop Robert from seeing the truth.
I'm a witch, Anush. We tend to... When the truth is not what we need, sometimes we change it.
Well, Morrigan, I myself am a fellow witch, among many other things. And sometimes I like to know how to cast a spell too. You say you pity me, but to be timeless can be exhilarating. And it is something I can offer you, at least for now.
I see. So you want to open your mind and let me settle in and feel what it is to be me and to do what I do.
Yes, call it a little game. I let you peek, you let me peek.
Give me a rapport roll.
Fuck.
Famously good at rapport here.
It's nothing. It's nothing.
It's tempting, but I'm going to turn you down.
Why, is it because I'm too charming?
Yes, it's your charm.
It is okay. I believe there will come a time when you might just need me.
Maybe. In truth, Anush, I need all of you.
Then why try to send us away?
Because you're all playing the wrong game. You're playing the game that Robert chose to play along with the way that the world is going and make your personal achievements inside it and find out new information and search and continue your quest along this lure that we're drawn by as the future calls us on. But that is not enough to stop what will happen.
What is enough then?
We have to change the future, Anush. We have to make it ours. That's what I'm doing here. Making a future for us.
And then what?
And then pain. Birth is always pain. Pain and blood and fierce violence that settles in to growth and learning. That is always how it works. That is always how it will work.
Except with these humans. They change, they innovate, they hold on. Yes, there's pain. But there's always something more. A defiance there. Good luck with your legacy. I am sure it will be strong. But in the end, you are just making it up as you go. Just like the rest of us. So, let me settle in. I like what you've done with the place.
Yes, I think it's nice.
The star is falling here, correct?
Correct.
And you're sure?
I am sure.
Hmm? Well,
I will
hope
allow
you're right.
nothing else.
You know what this is, correct? You know what leaves in
Sorry,
us?
your audio is so bad I could not understand what you said just then.
No,
Yeah.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Check the connection though, because it's been popping and crackling.
Hello?
Still popping. No.
Is it better?
Yeah.
Yes.
Aha, ha, ha. It was one of the settings.
No.
Do you know what? Do you know what is in us? We just think all of this is magic too.
What else would you call it?
Science? Passengers. Made of some metallic like substance live on our blood, come from the stars, disperse when the balls fall. Not somebody else has already changed the fate. Find them, maybe we have a better shot. Right now, we wait for hundreds of years to maybe infect 10,000. Ha! Small potatoes. I intend to figure out what is in this and do it myself.
I wish you well on your legacy then.
I do not think you will be there to see it, but I appreciate the good wishes.
Good. Then get out of my sight, Anoush of Hastings. I have other things to do.
I do not know. I think you'd want to keep an eye on me.
You think of yourself more highly than I do.
I think that is true. Hey, good luck, Phillimore. I pat him on the back and I leave.
Yeah, Fillmore's like, what the fuck is this happening right now?
Fully
All right.
threw Fillmore under the bus.
Okay. So, back to the game. Night passes. Morning comes. The cannons begin to fire. It is a couple of days until the star falls. What do y'all do in this couple of days? How do you get your what word am I looking for? How do you meet your goals? How do you?
I think before that next morning, before we get out of bed, although we had been awake for a while, know what I'm saying? After turns to Yelena and outlines I guess what Hathor would probably more likely call his Ragnarok contingency plan. That Courtney knows what I'm talking about if everything else fails.
Okay.
And then in the morning, or like when they get up, would go to the rotunda and start telling those who are willing what they need. And that would be trying to get Otto. I don't know. Did we say if who was the other one that can do weather?
Horace.
Yeah, Horace. Is Horace here or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So he gets he would want Horace, Otto, and then there's somebody that does, and Mirwine and Wermund. And tries to work with them to tries to get them to work with their powers together. To essentially try to make a tidal wave, because if they can wet their cannons in their stores, that makes this battle significantly easier. Is his
Veermund
idea.
isn't there. Veermund stayed behind.
That's right. Veermund stayed behind. Okay, so then he tries to get the other three to use their powers together to essentially make a giant tidal wave. If they can't make rain, they will make rain. Mm-hmm. And if they can take the guns and their cannon powder out of the battle, that makes things changes the game. And then he would like to put try to get position with Hild somewhere to the sorry, let me look at my map. I think though the northwest of the fort, just away from the because we want the cannon fire coming from the north. And then she's on the west, so that way when people flee from the south out of the village part, Hild can, if there does become soldiers who try to herd people in or hurt people, can have people either rethink their lives, go away, and would ask Robert for a whole battalion with them, and then would also, I think he would consult his friends, but he would say, do you think Pagan with a battalion is enough to protect Hild?
I could do it by myself.
I believe.
I mean, I won't, but I could.
I believe you can.
Ida laughs at that and goes, "You are not who we're worried about. Actually, I think the battalion is more for you.
Yeah.
You got Hild. The battalion has you."
Yeah. And then he again reaches across to Pagan, and inside his brain, he says, "What's done is done. To new beginnings, friend."
He cries a little bit.
And then I guess the last thing he says out loud is, "Don't let that be the last image of me in your head, or of you in my head." And with a little bit of a chuckle, and goes off to try to find Fillmore so he can make his spec ops unit. And I think that's a good way to intersect with other people.
All right.
Yelena will go over to Ida, and maybe they've noticed or not over the last few times that they've interacted, but Yelena has not, specifically Ida has not touched Ida for very long, but she will link arms with this young man. I think perhaps I have an idea about perhaps you and Leofstan, Bast and Loki. If we can get you into the fort, would you be willing to talk with the tribes to see if you can get them to go?
Of course. Of course.
Okay. So she will collect those individuals and to Leofstan. Can you summon? I would assume vermin would be the best to make their way into the fort and disrupt food stores, cause general chaos. And perhaps the others could use that as cover to get in. If there's any beavers in the river, maybe they will help. They like to slap things with their tails. They have big teeth.
Those plague-carrying vermin, beavers, that's...
I love beavers. I just really love beavers. They're my second favorite thing about Canada.
What's the first?
Courtney.
Courtney.
Oh. Okay. Anyway.
All right. Okay. So you're doing that. All right. Anush, what are you doing while you're staked out in this fort?
I think Anush would like to walk around the perimeter of the fort, figure out where he is allowed to go, where he's not allowed to go. Maybe try to find some supplies, some black powder or something, or depending on what he finds, he's got an idea.
Okay. You are allowed, in the open spaces, but they don't let you into, the military areas. The the powder store is a large building, which you are not allowed into, but you know where it is, and it's only guarded by one person at a time.
Okay. How is that wall that's supposed to explode? Is it pretty watched?
the wall that's supposed to explode?
Yeah, there's a wall that is supposed to get exploded that kind of disguises the star falling.
Oh, yes. In Robert's vision and in
Yes.
actual history, the French retreated and tried to blow up the fort, but only succeeded in blowing up the powder store and causing a large fire. So I guess the wall that you're thinking
I guess
of
it's
would
the
be
powder store. Sorry.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. I'll just keep an eye on that and kind of walk around.
Okay. All right. We will begin then with the weather workers. I've got some rolls to make, don't I?
Well, I was gonna say, so when we met up, he would say, "Has anybody seen a noosh?"
Nobody has seen a noosh in a while.
Fillmore is also gone. Because he would have been looking for Fillmore.
Yeah.
And then once he didn't see somebody, would have started looking for a noosh.
Mm-hmm.
And would relay to, I think things have kind of fallen into a natural split, right? Of like Robert and Halfthor are kind of leading the tactics for the new generation, and then it's Gilgamesh and Hippolyta, and he would inform them that we may have a problem. And then the other part was he thought it was perfect because he wanted Ida to come in the fort with them as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I wanted to time it up, the weather,
okay,
specifically the crash with when we go inside, so that it's like a big 1-2. So that way, when the wave comes and they start dealing with boats being untethered and crashing into each other and the shore, that whatever force goes divided that way, they can come inside and cause a little more havoc. Which we would also say to Ida, you have to stay close to me. Or sorry, to Yelena, you have to stay close to me. But you need to go inside with us.
Okay. Okay. I was going to ask, I can do this on my own then. I was going to plant some contingency plans within the fort, or have someone do it, but
within
yes.
within our outpost?
No, within the fort. I was going to, if it comes down to battle, I was going to place some willow trees to hopefully entangle some troops if we could not get them out, but
that's
okay.
We are of one mind.
I think anytime she hears the cannon fire, she flinches still. But
it just gives you a reassuring, not trying to soothe a wound he knows he's not able to, but just support the person who supports him. And convey that in every touch whenever he sees her flinch like that.
This is to everybody, as there's been like small moments where they've been able to like sit or whatnot. She's braided protection spells into Halfthor's hair and written out runes on people as they let her. She's putting herself to familiar, busy work, much like she did in Belgrade, offering her own protections to the people she cares for.
Oh yeah, as we get closer to the battle, Halfthor starts to look insane. One, he's taking a bunch of shrooms again. But he's got the good stuff now that Yelena travels with him. And he's got traditional Danish, like he's got the markings on the face, the eyes over his eyes to see into the afterlife, and his hair in like a more traditional, hey, cannon fire! Those are never on. I don't know why they're on right now.
Sorry. It happened last session too. You held your thumb up a little bit too long, and we got a thumbs up. It's
I'm
great.
so sorry to Lara mostly, but everybody as well. Um, yeah, and he just looks insane. He starts to look. He just looks more towards his roots.
Mm-hmm.
Yelena microdosed. She's not going for a full trip. She's
Nice.
getting somewhere.
Somebody's got to drive home, babe.
All right. Okay, so we've got cannons firing. We've got a group of weather workers who are going to try to make a tidal wave against the and rain to ruin the powder stores and cannon fire. We have a group of animals and such going in to cause havoc and distract. We have Ida going in to convince the native tribes to fuck off and stop supporting these assholes.
If I can.
Okay, and then we have the group of warriors going in. How are you going in? Through the tunnel?
I think we would have tried to find the tunnel that is now closed.
There is a blocked tunnel.
Yelena can get you over the wall.
Yes. Hafthor can do similar. I think when we find the blocked tunnel, at this point, Hafthor would say to Ida in her brain.
In their brain.
In their brain, I'm sorry. In their brain. Thank you. That he would show images of the advisor to his lord, his liege lord, that killed his family, and an opportunity he had once to kill him before that would have happened, and thought better of it, and say, if Anush has anything to do with this or is working with her, I will not allow someone else to live long enough to hurt my new family.
You hear back. Understood.
And then maybe for the first time in probably like 100 or so years, because as affectionate as he is, there are still several hurdles that people have to overcome from their past trauma. Hafthor says, I love you. And you feel warmth and the smell of the sea and the feel of like cold ocean air and that like.
I think because there's also obviously there's so much trauma at this table. You don't hear it back, but what you do hear is or what you feel is the enveloping of a quiet wood and the heaviness, the comforting heaviness of night and a sky full of stars, and just the comfort and the smell of a campfire, and just this general feeling of togetherness and home and all of that. And with that, they let you know that you are loved as well.
So sweet. So sweet.
Siblings have a hard time, guys.
Yeah, hard time.
Rough. Yeah, we're still only like really in our teens when you think of like the grand scope. So it's not until you're an adult that you truly begin to appreciate your siblings, and
It's true.
we're getting there.
All right.
It took one of them getting married to like be the bridge for that. Yelena's just like, get over yourselves.
All right. Okay. So we're gonna do this. I will start with the tidal wave. Let's see if we can do it. So this is auto.
That's all their powers. We can't really help with that, can we?
Not really. Not that I know of.
That's why I wanted them to team up together.
Yeah. All right.
I
So
figured One, 4 chance, or well, I was hoping 4, but 3 chances are better than 1.
Okay. Wasn't rolling great, but there are 3 of them. Okay, so I've got that in the bag. All right. So we're doing this all at once. So let's have. How are you getting into the fort? I recognize the animals are probably sneaking in through tunnels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Creeping in, that sort of thing. How are the warriors getting in?
Yelena can grow vines and whatnot to basically make stairs leading up and over the wall. If we cannot make
After I was
it the
going
different
to
way.
ask, actually, his thought was if you could make the vines go in to break some of the bonds of the stone and then support an archway, he can move, right? Like, so if you can make it penetrate a little bit and just crack it with the vines, Half Door would be able to remove enough to make like a small tunnel
Okay.
through the bottom, like through the bottom of the wall.
Okay.
Would you like me to roll for that?
Yes, absolutely.
I will also roll a will.
Okay, hold on. Ooh.
Is Gilgamesh with us? Is there any bonus? Because Gilgamesh is with us.
you.
Do we get anything for him being there? I know he has like some weird thing about affecting people or something. I'm just asking.
No, he doesn't have
Okay.
any.
I got an epic,
Okay.
and then for flavor, if you're looking at her, she seems to be struggling a little bit more than she has basically since she had her power. But I got an epic.
Okay.
I got a fantastic.
Okay. All right. And creeping animals. Let's get a stealth roll for you guys.
Let's go.
Good. Oh, that was a good one. Okay. Cool. Oh, Bast is sneaky.
I am going to use a fate point.
Okay.
Oh, I was gonna say, can I also have the help action with them?
Mm-hmm.
By I don't know, I'll like cover some of the cats that are brighter colored in some like mud or like paint kind of thing, and then give those that are live maybe in Europe or other places extra sets of clothes that better will like be mixed in with the background.
Okay.
I'm going to use my aspect of animal instincts as I am a little rat, little rat creature, a little rat. And because I always forget every single time, fate point, we can either use it to add to. So that will be superb.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Okay. So cannons firing into the buildings. That's the first thing that happens, Anush, inside the fort is that the cannons start and they are high up enough that they get over the walls and start hitting the infrastructure of the fort. People start running around trying to get away from the crumbling buildings and such. That does give you a in if you want to get into the powder store.
Yes, I'd like to sneak and get into the powder store.
Okay. Give me a sneak.
Okay, I steel myself.
Like a sneaky boy.
Where's my stealth? Pop, pop. That is a superb
With a superb, you are able to get in unseen.
Amazing. I'm gonna take a minute, or around, and
Right.
kind of just like let my blood flow, enhance my senses, and then I'm gonna just take out my matchbook and wait.
Okay. All right, you wait. The next thing that happens is a colossal noise as the waters of the lake rise out of their basin. And it is just I can't put into good words how massive this wave is. I rolled well, okay, is what I'm saying. It's big and it is going over the walls. It is traveling so far, and you can see in it, if anyone is looking, the fiercely enjoying it that Mirwine is doing, riding this wave into crashing over the fortress and soaking everything and everyone that is out in the open. The cannons with their nearby powder are no longer something to worry about, at least for a while. And at that time, the animals get in, sneak in. Cats start scattering around. Rats start scattering around into the food stores, and a hole is dug by mental power and the power of vegetation into the side of this fortress that will allow you to get in. And let me do one more roll to see if anyone notices that hole. Probably not, because they're a little distracted, but you never know. Oh no, that's 2 negatives. They do not. So
All those years of risk led to this moment.
who wants to talk to me about what you're doing?
As soon as they get through the wall, Hathor turns to Loki and Ida and says, "You have your work." Then turns to Gilgamesh and says, "Help any civilians get out if there's any." And says, "I'm gonna go find Cuchulainn."
Understood, my brother.
And he's gonna go to the command post because he thinks that's where they're gonna be. Probably the top of the battlements, maybe something like that. I would, if I could do a look. Can I see if there's anybody like clearly? Halfdoor's plan, to give it in game terms, mechanic terms, Halfdoor is going to seek out all the officers. He doesn't know the extent of the Morrigan's powers, but is assuming whatever power she has, it relies on the most control over being over the officers. Knowing that she only has one starfall, even if it's sort of 3 in 1, that it would be, he's betting she can't control 40k. But if he could take out the officers, he could probably do some damage. So even if he has to fight through a small group, and then that's the other thing. As he says all this, you begin to see he's got like a small, what looks like a tiny quiver on his hip, and you begin to see these spikes come up and around, almost like a halo.
Creepy.
5-inch spikes, incredibly compressed, almost like as if it would be hardened steel beyond what's normally capable at the time, because Halfdor has essentially learned to make a hydraulic press with his mind
Okay.
and can do hammering consistently and with more pressure than any blacksmith of the time.
Okay. I'll take it. I get you. All right.
They're just little bullets. They're just gun bullets.
They're cute. I like them. Your little
I got a
halo
little
of death.
flavor. Yeah, little 5 inches of death. It's also what I call my dick. Sorry.
Halfthor
Cut that
told
out. Cut
Yelena
it out.
Little 5 inches of death. That's a terrible thing.
God,
to
I'm going to take this moment right now to apologize to your actual wife for you putting that shit on the internet.
say.
Hi, we love you, and your husband needs to shut the fuck up.
You would agree.
We're sorry.
Okay. Sorry, back to the... I make jokes when I'm uncomfortable and I'm so scared.
Halfthor told Yelena to stay with him, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So you're in and you're seeking out officers. Okay. And Ida.
I would like to make an argument for making a contacts roll to see who amongst the nations present there could be swayed. Like
Okay.
who is in the fort, because they have over their over 100 years here in the New World have worked with many different nations, so they kind of want to take a look to see who the players are in the chaos, before going to try to convince. They want to find the best person to try to convince before they waste time.
Okay.
So
Yeah, there are members of Algonquin Nation and Wabanaki here, and they are generally sort of self-sufficient. They don't have like a hierarchy as such, like a military hierarchy to them. So it's hard to pick out a person.
totally
But
fine.
you can make a context roll, and if you do well, you'll find someone. That
Okay,
sounds like
yeah,
good work.
let's do contacts. Let's just see.
You can give the help on that.
Katie.
I have contacts. I took that was one of my swaps. And I think the way that he would help would be he has relationships with people in the area. So he says if you see any of these people, know that they can, if they would like to not be involved at all, there's protection in the fort.
Okay.
Or in the outpost, sorry.
Yeah, away. Okay.
Yeah.
With that help, that is a clean nothing changed, which makes it a great.
Okay.
So I have great contacts.
All right. So yeah, you managed to find someone who is respected enough by these braves to be sort of a speaker for them. Do you change into human form then and talk to them, or what do you do?
Yeah, I don't think that they try to talk to them as a rat. Just a rat running around. It's that one. It's the squirrel from. Never mind. Okay, so they would not be Mohegan though.
Right.
They would because Mohegan is from the wrong side of the tracks here. So they would change into somebody more from the probably somebody from the Algonquin side of things, and just and again they would not have put any kind of significance on themselves to make them seem like they're have any kind of, again, there's no rank, it's not like that, but there are symbols of earned respect. They have enough to be like, that's why they're here, but not anything to make them like notable.
Okay.
So they are going to run up and they're going to run up and basically start saying like, this is not our fight. We have to, we have bigger problems to worry about right now than what is happening with the Europeans. Like, we don't need this shit. Like, literally the lake is raining down on us. Like, this is like nature is pissed and we've got to go.
On that note,
yeah,
if you will allow, I don't want to interject, but Yelena has arrows that have seedlings attached to them.
Mm-hmm.
And she'd like to shoot a willow tree into the center of the fort and have it go to its full height, which is something like 60 feet high and 40 feet wide.
Yeah.
Nature erupting from the ground.
Okay.
If you'll allow it, I'm still planning on doing it.
Absolutely.
But if it could help.
Mother Willow is pissed, guys.
Yeah,
Disney
absolutely.
I didn't say that. So, Disney. It's okay.
So with that, go ahead and give me a rapport roll. It is not a difficult roll because you have an awful lot of advantages on your side right now.
Could I make an argument for deceive, as I am mimicking? I guess I'm not really. I'm mimicking a. I'm not myself, so I get a +4 to deceive if I'm mimicking somebody, and I am being deceptive.
You are. Yeah. All out.
Yay! Okay.
That's how you power game, Laura. I'm so fucking proud of you. Look at us all growing.
Okay, there's the help. So with a +4, that goes to legendary.
Okay. Yeah,
they real good, guys.
They are whooping and hollering and yeah, they agree. They're not even talking to you. They're just like going. They're like, it is time for us to leave this place.
Like
and
the
they are
opposite of
heading
battle
for
frenzy.
the main gates.
Yeah. I think so. Ida, as this basically almost faceless national, like indigenous person, is just running around yelling about nature and saying, "Get out! Get out! Get out!" Like, so yeah.
All right. At this time, Anush, you can hear a lot of shit going down. You heard the crash of water onto the roof of the powder store. You are hearing yelling. You started hearing cries from the Native American troops as they rush by. Shit's going down.
I am going to try to peer out and see what the Morrigan's response is before I do anything.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So what is going on here with the troops in the fort is that the so the natives are heading for the gate and they're going to open it, and some of the troops are also looking at the gate with some interest. The officers are doing their best to get everyone under control, and I'm going to make a roll. Okay, I rolled 4 negatives. The officers do not have things under control. The troops are scattering. But speaking of officers, we're going back to Halfthor and Yelena and Gilgamesh and that lot. you do find it's not hard to find them because they're yelling and trying to get control over the people. There are various captains and lieutenants and such running about yelling at the troops. It's not hard to find them. However, let's see if Cuchulainn himself. Yes, you do see Cuchulainn among them yelling out instructions.
I would like to. Again, I think really quick, just make sure. Yeah, in Yelena's mind, she sees, any of the officers on the battlement, their legs being held by vines. And then if that happens, I would like to stealth and try to do it from quiet. And I would just like to shoot with my will. I'm not looking for anything like particularly special with these little spikes. I essentially just wanted a flavored bullet. A silencer. I was trying to think of how I could invent a silencer, and then I was like, oh wait, he could just move things with his brain. I'll just fucking.
He's
What's
spicy.
that character? What's that other? Let's just piss off Disney a lot. What's that character from Guardians of the Galaxy?
Mary Poppins?
Yondu.
Yeah, Mary
Oh,
Poppins.
Yondu.
That
Yondu.
one. Yondu. Yes. Yeah, he's just yonduing around. But instead of having like one, he's just like going through, dropping. Because the mechanics of Fate, I only have so much power within a zone.
Yeah.
So he's if once Yelena would do that, you just start seeing. Well, even before that, right? They just start dropping.
Mm-hmm.
These little dark darts in the morning light, hard to see, go in and out of necks through. Halfdor again really upped his lore before the last time, and has studied some of these Renaissance. He is hitting armpits and necks and left thighs. He is hitting the spots that are going to bleed people out within a second.
Okay. All right. So that is what you see, Anush. You see absolute chaos and the leaders gathering and sort of facing and being assaulted by, mostly by Hathor's powers, but also other things.
Oh, good. I'm going to light the matchbook on fire, and as I'm walking out of the store, throw it behind me with the intention to explode the powder store.
Right. Okay. Throwing a match into a powder store is not something you need a roll for. There is a big boom. Anush, are you getting out of there first?
Oh, yes.
I mean, that's what I'm. But still,
I'm not going to explode my body.
He's being real laissez-faire. He's being just like whatever.
No, I'm trying to hunt down.
Explosions, kind of cool.
My thought process is the Morrigan is probably close if she's controlling multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
Could be wrong, but I want to look to see if I can find her trying to intercede with all this stuff going wrong.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you do not see the Morrigan. Above table, there is no Morrigan physically to find. So you're not going to find her. She's just in the minds of these people. But you don't necessarily know that. So you do not spot the Morrigan, but you do see the people that she is perhaps controlling. So I'm going to give it a little time for the explosion. Let's have a little... I need you, Halfthor, to roll that stealth roll that you said you were going to make.
Yep. I really hope I don't have to blow my one fate point because I really need it later on. Okay, that should be fine. +2, to good is superb.
Superb. Okay. I'm going to need you to make a will roll now.
Okay.
You can't hide from the Morrigan, baby.
I know. I knew this was going to happen. I just wanted it to happen a little bit later.
You got to roll above the table.
I always forget what's one above superb.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Wonderful. All right. In your head, your mushroom-addled head, appears a woman so warped and twisted that it is hard to call her even human anymore. And she says, I told you if you stayed on your side of the line, I'd stay on mine. But now, here we are.
You came to my side of the line. And you did not know it. And I gave you an opportunity to turn back. And you refused.
All right. Okay, so what she's going to do, she's putting a lock on your powers. You are 3 levels below normal. Due to
On
what?
my will?
On your will.
Cool.
And she says, this is not your place, and you must leave now.
Oh. I think at the loss of power, Hathor is constantly the through line, whether it was the initial season and Belgrade and this, right, is control.
Mm-hmm.
Hathor is scared. He's constantly afraid of commitment because he's afraid of losing what he commits to, right? And then now he committed, and now he has brought people close to him. And instead of just fearing to control the outcome for vague reasons of nobility or responsibility, these reasons have specific faces. He has a family. He has people he loves and he cares about. And I think we've talked about when Hathor's emotional state begins to become... he loses control of it. These mental images become infused, right, with feelings and emotion, because he's unable to sort of hold back, right? That is the emotion behind someone's voice in a telekinesis conversation is smell, is experience, is that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think at that loss of power, he begins to feel very afraid. And the Morrigan would smell smoke, and there would be images flashing of a woman, what was a woman, what is now a charred body, and 2 smaller charred bodies hanging on posts. There's images of looking at Ulf and seeing absolute heartbreak in his only friend's eyes, the person who supported him more than anything, and pain of knowing and feeling the pain of knowing that it's the absolute right decision. And there's like a smell, or she would taste a bit of bile rise up in her throat as Halfdor thought about the moment that he realized Robert could see everything he's doing. And then there's an ashen village and a solitary woman with black eyes and more pale skin than usual, with hair flowing, and there's this smell. Flesh has a very particular smell when it burns, and it is one that Halfdor is tragically familiar with. And I think that's what the Morrigan would see and feel as he says, take care of Yelena if I don't make this out. And I'm going to try to take over the Morrigan. Going to launch a mental attack.
All right. Go ahead.
Can I? Oh, I don't know. Can I roll with Gifts of the Morrigan a notice or something to maybe? What I had wanted to do was to see who I could recognize was part of Morrigan's group horde.
Mm-hmm.
But if I see her take over Halfdor, I would like to try and help, interject something, maybe call to that part of myself that I gifted her. I want to help. I can use a fate point about it.
Yeah, you can. So yeah, you can. The only thing that I can think of is that you can leap your mind into his mind as well.
You can use the thing she just gave you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay.
If you do that, before you do what you do, Halfdor would have something truly like waiting for you to see, because it's the only thing he's thinking right now. Besides the mental attack. And it would be his eyes turning like Cuchulain's and his face becoming the Morrigan's countenance. And then you would see vines begin to grow into every orifice, and he is asking you to kill him if he goes.
Yeah, I got that. Cool. If I'm allowed, I would like to use the pheromone ability that she has.
Yes.
And I will tap the witch and her warrior for my aspect.
Absolutely.
Oh my fucking god.
Yeah. Okay. So two. Fuck yes. Fuck yes. Okay. Legendary is what I got.
Well, shit. Okay. You step in to the mind of your husband.
Yes.
You find the Morrigan there. You see that what she is doing is taking all of the things that he gave her, all of the images, all of the feelings, all of the trauma, and pushing it back into him, swirling it around him so that he is trapped in it. And she sees you there. And she says, Yelena.
He's not yours to take.
Then I will go.
We can move past this. Please.
No, he is yours. I will go. And she withdraws. And you are in your husband's mind, and it is suddenly clear.
I'm so sorry.
I think you see a little boy. I think you see a very scared 12-year-old. With what looks like some sort of like skinning knife or something in his hand. And his forearm's covered in blood, and there's tear streaks cutting through his dirty face like rivulets. And he just looks up at you, scared.
She will hold her hand out to him. I don't know that she knows what she looks like right now, but she's offering a hand, and offering safety, and offering love, and an apology.
If you don't mind, I'm gonna roll. I think Halfthor had his own psychotic break, not dissimilar to what happened with Yelena. If you don't mind, I think I'm gonna roll a rapport.
Okay.
See if he can recognize. Fate would say yes. That was 4 pluses, so that is a superb. Because I have no rapport. Yeah, I think there's a recognition. I think Yelena. I don't think Yelena would look scary to him in the way of he would feel in danger. But there would be the thing that Halfthor respects, probably most of anything, is a powerful person who chooses to not be cruel, who chooses to extend that protection and that power for kindness, particularly when they have every reason not to. And I think that is what he sees in this visage and in this image of his wife, and that is what draws him out of this fugue state, out of this panic, this episode of phantasmagoric terror. And as he reaches his hand out, he becomes the Halfthor that Yelena recognizes.
Right.
No words are to pass. She just holds him.
Everybody froze and skipped for me for a second. I missed it. You said I don't, and then I didn't hear anything. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she doesn't. There's no words that pass. She just holds.
Yeah,
in their minds.
The smell of smoke is slowly replaced by the smell of petrichor.
And I don't think she's intentionally using the ability, but she tells you to steel yourself. Gather your willpower. You are as strong as you have ever been, regardless of your ability. We need you.
I don't think you could even talk right now. I think you just feel you would feel if you say it, I believe it. And then maybe that's reflected by the sound of wind going through willow trees.
All right. And that's when the powder store blows up, sort of knocking you out of this state that you're together in, and more towards awareness of the world, where the entirety of the Morrigan's troops, of the French troops, are all following the natives to get the fuck out. They're heading out the gates towards where Hild is waiting for them to uh, pacify them and get them to go the fuck home.
I think after wherever he landed, if he's knocked, I'm assuming he's knocked off his feet.
Yeah,
I don't know how close I would have been if I'm like unconscious, but wherever he would have landed, Havler is immediately looking to the sky. Does he see a streak or any sort of indication that the star is falling?
No.
Okay. And then he just turns to Yelena and says, I think Yelena would feel a small pressure and an inability to have a wordless connection like usual. And then Hafthor would say out loud, it's different now. Everything from here on out is unknown.
The officers and like whom the Morrigan was inhabiting, they are still there.
They are. Some of them have been knocked off their feet. Cuchulainn himself is moving towards you all. He is changing his body. His skin is peeling off of his flesh and bones are jutting out, and you can see his skull coming out of his body as he moves towards you and spreads out and becomes this hideous creature. It's one of the more terrifying things that you've seen in a full life full of terrifying things. So I'm going to need everyone in who was in the little warriors group there to roll willpower. Just will.
Yeah. It's gonna go good.
To keep from running the fuck away from Cuchulainn.
How? So if I ran, so Ida isn't part of that, right?
Ida's not part of that, unless you want to be with them.
No. Can Ida see what's happening though?
Yes.
Okay. Noted.
How do you feel about a pour?
I feel like you're running away.
I got a fair. Broke even.
You got a fair. Oh, right, because you have less will. I was like, oh, of course you got a great one. No. With a fair, you are also running. Let me roll for Gilgamesh. Oh fuck. Okay.
Come on, Papa.
Yeah, unfortunately, Gilgamesh rolled for shit. He has great will, but he rolled -3. So he is also backing away. You see this. You see them running away from this thing that Cuchulainn has made himself to be. It's his greatest weapon.
As we back away, can I make an argument for a lore roll to represent a tactical plan to direct Hippolyta and Gilgamesh in a way where we begin to semicircle Cuchulainn, and then I would like to also, and then it convey to Yelena as well to try to slow him down by making the earth uneven as he passes.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that okay? And argue that the take a +1, I guess. I kind of have to, but that's a great.
Okay.
I gotta save my 1 point. I got one shot.
Yes, you convey that, and Hippolyta and Gilgamesh start to move around. They're still not. They're not able to approach.
Yeah, back away, but at least back away in a way where we're spread out, so that
Yeah.
he has to divide his attention.
Yeah.
Cuchulainn. That's essentially the slow him down, and that he has to divide his attention,
Okay.
and that if he wants to chase one way, he's going to give his back to at least one other and create a blind spot for the other. That's sort of the idea.
Okay.
After a minute or so of watching this and just kind of staring,
Like, holy shit.
You all will hear, everyone will hear a scream as suddenly a complete duplicate of this monster
Oh, jeez.
starts shifting, because after a minute or two of watching someone, I can completely match any person or animal.
You certainly can. I wrote
So that
in
is my
notes.
last fate point, you guys. And screaming, shrieking into Cuchulainn's face,
Okay.
Ida comes up, or just is screaming, "Stay away from my family."
Cuchulainn has never had to deal with his own power before, so I'm going to roll for him. Okay. All right. So what he does is he tries to envelop you in his body.
Okay.
So this is a fight roll.
Okay.
Is there any way I can offer help? Because I have fight. I would like jump on if that's what it requires. Like a risk of injury, whatever. Like Halfdoor is not going to allow his sister, sibling,
Yeah.
to that to happen without nothing. I have fight. Can I offer the help in that way?
Yeah.
Okay.
That, with the help, is superb.
All right. You fight off Cuchulainn, and he is repulsed, and turns back into his normal self. Everyone no longer has to retreat from him. And then his face stretches and changes, and you see the features of the Morrigan on them. And she says, "Enough. I have lost. I know when I have lost. This is a mistake, but it is yours to make."
I think Ida stays in this monstrous form, feeling very at home in the feeling of the wolf, but this monstrous wolf. And maybe we are wrong, but what we are is family. If you had come here as family, this wouldn't have happened. Stay, if you will, sister. And then I think at that, they retract. And for the first time ever for Yelena, and in a very long time for Halfthor, a small, pale, just the just dishwater blonde hair, pale blue eyes, plain, the most plain, the body of a plain young woman stands, and Ida is themselves as they were. At this point, because they were dressed, I mean, they're naked Ida,
Sure.
because I mean, whatever, but they don't care, obviously. So stay. If you are family, stay.
If this is a rapport roll, I don't have rapport. Could
I
I
don't have it either.
potentially help this roll? Help Yelena by putting an image into Cuchullin's brain. Again, this is that doorstep part, not trying to attack. Um, that the like being there for an image of the orb falling, and the Morrigan, the image that Hathor saw of the Morrigan that is decrepit and twisted, begin to heal, begin to become more whole, and convey that each starfall presents not just a potential for more power, but maybe a potential for healing, if that's what she desires.
Yelena's going to walk up to where Ida and the Morrigan are standing. You are a part of me now. And I think I am also a part of you. There is a way to move forward together. And she will offer her hand.
All right, make that rapport roll. You do get help.
Do I need to? I can't give help. I don't have rapport. I was just trying to talk, man. I'm a naked lady. I'm just here to talk.
Cool.
Bare naked ladies. They're pretty persuasive.
Yelena's not using any of her abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Superb.
What you see is the face of Cucullin morphing between the different faces of the Morrigan. And then they settle on the youngest looking. And she says, I believe in hope. I believe in family. I believe in all of this for you.
Thank you. Would you release him, please?
She does.
Yelena's going to hug the Morrigan.
Ooh. She doesn't know what to do with that.
That's fine.
All right. The battle is won. What happens next?
Ida, because they're still feeling a little bit weird in their skin after what they turned into.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it might be. I think they have a moment of like. They have a moment of like. They can understand why Anoush is the way Anoush is. Because there was a level of wrongness and power and strength that was like unbeatable. But that quick connection makes them look for Anoush because no way he isn't here. So, were they up on the ramparts or were they down within? Where
Yeah, they
did that
were.
whole thing with Kukulkan go down?
Yeah, I was sort of picturing in my mind as a rampart.
Yeah. Okay. Can I? Is Anoush hiding after walking away from an explosion without looking back like a badass? Is that or what's Anoush doing?
So
Anush is sending
I
blood to his spine to rebuild his nerve endings after an explosion crumpled him.
I think Anoush actually went up to one of the officers
Mhm.
that the Morrigan has control over that has fallen down.
Excellent. Okay.
And I want to take that syringe and I want to put it in their neck.
Okay.
And then I want to like take the body and like go hide away with it.
Okay. Can I roll notice to see if I see this happening like a fucking
I
weirdo?
mean, yeah, that's something that you could potentially see. So yeah. Are you being sneaky, Anush? Do you need to roll?
You bet your sweet ass I'm being
Roll
sneaky.
stealth.
Fantastic.
Great. I didn't see it, so all I know is I can't see Anoush. So I, as a naked young woman, storm through a fort full of water and scared men, yelling, Anoush! I'm just yelling for my brother in the most frustrated sibling voice ever. Just like just yelling your name, but the undertone is, if you don't get your fucking ass out here, I'm gonna make you regret so much.
Small point of order. We're about 100 years ahead on syringes being invented.
He did it already. We already talked about it.
He
I
invented
know.
them.
I invented this. It's a needle and a thing that pushes.
You can't even say it.
Hey,
Stop it.
It's a
I'm
plunger.
not. I'm not.
he's
Anoush.
wearing Doc Martens. He's got a walker.
How did
He
you
knows
make the
this
glass,
vampire
Anoush?
named Jane.
Either way, I'm
Anyway.
screaming that if you like, just yelling at you and just ignoring all other,
Mhm.
like, if anybody comes
Yeah.
up to me as like, if somebody's like tries to stop me, I will snarl like a wolf in their face. Like this creature is feral.
Ida, I was just
Yeah,
giving you a
yeah.
cloak. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no. That makes Anoush abandon all of his plans and just comes out. What?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Where did you go? We could have had you could have helped us. Where did you go?
Here.
To be useless. What have you done?
My job was not to help you defeat the Morrigan. My job is to catch the star, Ida.
Your job is to be a part of this community, not to only focus on your own needs and your own wants. Where did you
So
could have told
you
any of us?
forced me to go to war. Is that what you're saying?
Guess what? We didn't go to war. We had a little bit of a skirmish, and then we talked some sense into the Morrigan. But you wouldn't know that because you were fucking off here.
Maybe I didn't think the Morrigan needed talking sense to, Ida.
Anoush, I have cared for you. for going on almost 1,000 years. And I cannot begin to tell you how tired I am of you just not caring about me or about anyone besides yourself. You should not have left without talking to us. That is not what family does, and it is very, very clear to me that you don't care.
At the end of the day, Ida, I am the only one who will
Oh,
be left.
shut the fuck up about that. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care because at the moment, you're not alone. At the moment, I am here. For some reason, there is a very good man who wants nothing more than to always be with you. You have Yelena, who, against her better judgment, forces care upon you. And you have Halfthor, who will, yes, that's complicated. That's always complicated. That is kind of your deal. You are not alone right now. Can I stop the future? Absolutely not. None of us know. But if you don't want to be alone, do something about it right now. Because I can no longer keep making excuses for your behavior. Keep acting in your own interest and no one else's, and I will make sure that you are alone. I can promise you that. And Ida turns, flipping the little cloak around that was tossed into their hands by Yelena, and I just fucks, like, goes, honestly, and goes to check on, like, Pagan, and goes to check on people.
If Yelena had followed to give the cloak, Halfthor's not leaving Yelena's side. Halfthor's non-verbal right now.
Yeah.
But after Ida flips the cloak, I rolled a legendary to put into Anusha's mind the images that Halfthor has seen under the telescope of the passengers, and then images of Anush hung up by the ankles with his blood drained, and Halfthor pumping his heart to ensure that it runs dry, and completely desanguinating and removing all moisture from Anusha's body.
Oh dear.
Cracking bones to remove marrow, squeezing like an olive press all tissue, and just turns and walks away.
Ida was just going to tell Pagan he could do better, but okay. That's a step above.
And then Halfthor would like to... Oh yeah, definitely. Halfthor would like to find Gilgamesh and say, we need to convene the tribunal.
All right. Okay. So we'll pull back from that, go forward in time. A meeting with everyone.
Halfthor wastes no time. He immediately stands up, stands in the middle of the rotunda, and says, we agreed on common principles. And in an ideal world, we would all follow those. And our group's aims and goals would be achieved without issue. And he looks at Cuchulainn at this moment and says, but sometimes there are disagreements. and we can come to an accord after we solve those. And those that show a willingness to follow our compact's covenants should be allowed safe passage, should be allowed to enjoy the benefits of community if they contribute to community. If individuals continue to not, they should suffer those consequences. I propose Anush be banished and not enjoy the benefits of the Starfall. He can be removed rather easily.
There's a lot of muttering and mumbling
And then he goes on to explain over the years the secrecy, the hiding, not listening, doing everything that he wanted to, endangering Fillmore's life by tricking him once they found out exactly what happened with that. And just explains all that stuff and says we cannot. The Morrigan's isolation is what allowed these thoughts to fester, and we nearly had catastrophe. Anush chooses to isolate continually and disregard. It is only a matter of time until they gather the power to truly destroy us.
Gilgamesh stands. Anush, what do you say?
No. And he sits down.
That was not very helpful, Anush.
No.
Well, Anush, that is hardly a defense, and I do not want to let this go forward to some sort of action without hearing your side.
Oh, is there going to be action? Is that what is going to happen? I see a lot of fighting. Now we are waging war against those who would like to be left alone. This makes no sense. I say no.
We're not waging war against anybody. We're saying we don't trust you, and you don't contribute to this community.
And have actively endangered the lives, specifically of Fillmore, on this day.
So
With no regard for anything other than your own aims and goals.
that's not war, brother. I think the word you're thinking of is consequences.
Accountability is my preferred, but same, different.
No, it is war. This is what I worked for. To understand this. This is what I contribute. I do not fight. I do not engage in your petty conflicts about who will benefit from the falling of the stars. I'm here to study, to research, and to understand why this is happening. If you do not want me in your community, this is fine. Yes? But
That
I
is what
built this place brick by brick. You do not take it away from me. You may go somewhere else, but this right now is my home.
I was here 200 years before you. So you could take your smarmy attitude and shove it straight up that ass.
Ida holds a hand up to Halfthor as well as Yelena says that. Doesn't say anything, just
Why is it that you cannot see that it is... We don't want you to be separate from us. We want you invested, as we are invested in you and always have been. But you cannot deny that there are people here who care for you, even if they are angry. And watching you hurt yourself, having so little regard for your own life, as long as it may be, has been some of the most heartbreaking and terrifying things to see. As someone who looks to you as a mentor, as a teacher, you forget that I have held your heart in my hand as I studied. You mean more to us in so many different ways. And you may be more interested in the science and the why of it all, or the how, or what comes next. But if you look to the future without living in the present, what does it all matter? This anger comes from love. And you're breaking. You're breaking our hearts.
I am sorry. I can see from where you are hurting. And you're right. It is coming from a place of love. That is not where I am coming from. That is why I do not spend my nights with Pagan anymore, because love, it gets in the way.
Pagan leaves the room.
Can I connect with the Morrigan without, or the versions of the Morrigan?
Yes.
Can we make him feel anything?
Elena, he already feels everything.
She'll back out.
You're muted.
There's a moment of silence. After would stand up again and say, all the words that need to be said have been said. To Anush, we have all been nothing but tools. Peasants with small minds who do the work so that he can get his research done. Which I would ask you, all here, in what ways have your lives benefited from his research? What accomplishments have been made? What, other than some small improvements on the island, that have so far been outweighed by the constant degradation of your character, your intellect, and your feelings. If that is a cost you can bear, then allow him to stay and reward this behavior. And if it is not, then we must do what we must, particularly with someone who is not Richarlison, who is not understanding, empathetic, nor has the desire to turn around the ways that they choose to continually hurt people, knowingly now, without remorse or regard. It is not with glee that I mention these things, but it is necessary. This person cannot be allowed more power because they have proven that they are not worthy of what they have been given. I call a vote. All in favor of the excommunication and banishment of Anoush for no less than 200 years. And he raises his hand.
No. There's no
Yelena does not.
vote. That's not how this works. I'm sorry your feelings are hurt, but that is not the base for legality or these petty politics. Go cry in a room if that is what you need to do.
Dirt begins to pour into Anoush's mouth. Mounds and mounds of dirt if we're underground.
They're in the rotunda.
We're in the rotunda.
Sure.
Please.
Enough of that. Gilgamesh stands up. We'll have none of that, Half-Thor.
I spit out the dirt. It is strange how not once I have used my powers.
You don't have to use your gift from the star, Anoush. You were fully capable of harming us well before that. And they, because they have stayed as Ida for this, but they are dressed now. This is how this works, Anoush, which you would know if you ever left your fucking room and stopped crying. My vote is yes. And Ida walks out after Pagan to go check on their friend.
This is not how community works.
You've
Leave
separated
me
yourself from us.
alone, then do not take away from me. If you want more from me, this makes no sense.
I was not going to vote in favor of your banishment either. But you have to understand. We need some compromise, some give, something.
What would you wish me to?
The Morrigan is going to try to learn to be amongst us. Maybe you should try the same.
It doesn't seem like a bad compromise.
I've said my piece. I will not stop you. But I will not bleed myself in your defense anymore either. To be clear amongst those who may not be aware, and she'll tell the Morrigan that if she wishes to speak, she may speak through Yelena.
Mm-hmm.
I am now one of many, and I intend to nourish that. And if the Morrigan doesn't want to use her voice, she's going to leave as well to find her partner.
Right. Gilgamesh stands again, and he says, I do not wish any separation. My vote is no. I wish to care for my friends and family, even if they are dangerous, even if they separate themselves from us. I do not have a... And he gets very sort of frustrated with himself as he struggles to find the right words for this. And he says, family is family. Anush, if you are willing to be part of our family, then stay with us. That is what I think. And he sits down again.
I had a family once. I spent almost a lifetime trying to save them. In the end, the very thing I knew would happen happened. I still hear ghosts of them speak to me. That is how they live on. The more we attach ourselves to things, the more they become of us. And with a life like mine, I must be careful which seeds I plant and what becomes of me. I can see myself spending a long time with you. And if the Morrigan is willing to give this a chance, I think I can withstand mending some burnt bridges. So if I get a vote, I also vote no.
Bast hops up on a chair and cleans herself a little bit before talking, and then says, haven't you spent too long thinking about how long it is going forward? Isn't it time to be here?
You know, you say this like it is the first time somebody has said this, like specifically today. Thank you for your contribution. But yes,
I
live in
just
the
was
moment is
hoping that
kind
you
of
would
the
listen
theme.
this time.
Oh, okay. I listened the other times. This is why I came to the conclusion that it's fine. You know, we haven't had a
God.
lot of interaction. I'm not a
Don't
big
take that
cat
tone with
person.
that cat, man. Oh my god.
I believe Yelena
Very
just
well.
said it and walked
Every
away.
cat moving forward for the rest of eternity is going to fucking hate you. It's going to be great.
No, we sentence Anoush to be a cat guy. He always has the cats around him.
Never has a shirt that is free of cat hair.
And they're all asshole cats. None of those nice ones that are cuddly and cute. No. All assholes.
Bass says, I vote no. Fillmore stands up. I vote yes. Fuck that guy. He walks out.
You made your choice, you stupid bitch. You're fine.
Hippolytus shrugs. I can only abstain in this. I don't know enough. I think that I want everyone to win. And what's going on here is not winning. So I'm going to abstain. She sits down. And Hild just seems to be doing something that she often does, which is trying to figure out how to say something without making everyone agree with her. She says, I have to vote no. And a wave, much to her dismay, a wave of interest passes through the room. As everyone is very interested in what she has chosen. And she says, I don't think banishment is the way. I'm sorry, Hathor. All right, who's left? Who have I forgotten? Otto and Edmund, yes. Edmund stands. He says, I think we can handle him. I'm not afraid. I think that he should stay. And he sits down. Otto stays seated and he leans back in his chair. He says, I think that Anush has proven that he sets himself on a different course than the rest of us. And I think banishment would be good for him for a while. I vote yes. And Robert looks to Hafthor, looks to Anush. Do you know that I have a mind that can understand and work complicated calculus in several different matrices at once? Yet I do not know what Anush will do next. Will he embrace commonality, or will he go back to his old ways? I don't know, and I hate not knowing. But there's a lot that I haven't known recently. But I think there will be other chances. If we are wrong to allow him to stay, we can always go back and change our minds. So I vote no. Gilgamesh says, then the vote is concluded. Are there other items of business before the community today?
Pepper walks out.
I see. A difficult day for us all then. Then this conclave is released. I hope to see you all at Starfall. And everyone walks out. And that...
Can-
go on.
I do. Ida wants to speak with Pagan.
Oh, okay.
For sure. So
We'll do that real quick then.
Yeah. So Ida walks out, finds Pagan. How far did Pagan go?
Pagan is standing outside the door, like going back and forth, like, should I go back in? Should I not? Should I?
Ida takes his hand without think. It just takes it and leads him away quietly, and then finds a place out in the fresh air, out from underground, space and kind of just sits with him. You know, I think you and I don't think I don't think anybody understands Anush. I don't think it's possible. But I think you and I have probably got the closest of anyone around. And you're a very good man. And I'm sorry for not seeing that and for letting my prejudices get in the way of that.
Oh no, I was total shit to you at first. There's no.
No, I mean, of course, but we've grown, haven't we?
Yeah.
You're a good man. Better than he deserves.
He's just afraid of love. And you're
You're right.
coming at him with love, and that's going to just frighten him more.
You're right. But don't you deserve love? What do you deserve, Pagan? Because I can tell you right now, it's nothing that Anush is capable of giving you. And you deserve everything.
Doesn't matter. Just want him. Don't want everything.
I will admit I can't understand that sentiment. Not in the way that I've always been different, and it's not just the star. I wish I could understand. I wish I could feel the way that you all, everyone, seems to just naturally feel. But I can tell you what I see. And what I can see is that, well, he might be the only thing you want. Perhaps it's time to actually make him understand exactly what he loses from you. Be pagan. Go. Go enjoy your life. Go do something besides trailing after this anemic puppy. Go have fun. We've got plenty of time.
We do.
Go explore. Bother Hathor.
Yeah, perhaps. Perhaps it's time for that. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
And this much smaller young woman, they just kind of sighs. And they kind of they just lean against Pagan's shoulder and just kind of sit in the silence for a while and wait for whatever happens to happen. Just companionable silence.
We will end on that then, on companionable silence. Thank you all for joining us. That's how Ticonderoga was won. But wait, you're thinking, we still got 2 more episodes to go. If they've already won Ticonderoga, what's left? Well, don't worry. I've got everything planned out. Until next time, have a great time. Join us. Look at our social media accounts listed below, especially that Discord link. We're glad you're here with us through this adventure, and we hope to see you here next week for more drama. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Remember your